Welcome to the Pocono Triangle, a sometimes treacherous place where mysterious things happen. Greg Sachs is now your leader. He is out front and he has been stout. The unexplainable is commonplace.
It gave me no warning, there was no vibrations, bang, and it was all done.
They call it an oval, but it drives like a road course. 3 turns connected by 3 straights, the front being almost 4,000 feet long. It's a place that may account for some of the anomalies. Oh, Ron Cox, Kyle Busch get into it on the front stretch right in front of a bunch of cars. For reasons unknown, many never finish here. But for one, the supernatural powers of the Pocono Triangle will have no effect. He will come through unscathed. 40 will go in. How many will come out? The answers next on Speed. The big dance for the ARCA boys and girl is on the big track today. The 2.5-mile speed plant in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It's the Pocono ARCA 200. Let's get things rocking with Don Radebaugh.
With qualifying rained out, the field was set by current car owner points. That put Frank Kimmel on the pole. It also put red-hot rookie Ryan Hemphill alongside. Hemphill, in only his first Pocono appearance, blew the engine in the first practice session. Then, after changing motors, was quickest in happy hour. Well, that's a pretty good story so far, but Ryan Hemphill, you've had very limited time around this very tricky triangle. What have you been able to learn that'll help keep you up front here today?
I would say patience, and I'm going to take the first half of this race as a practice session since I didn't get much in practice. Guys at Braun Racing gave me an awesome car, which makes it easy for me to learn the track. Guys, Ernie Elliott's gave me a great motor. I'm confident if I don't miss another shift, it's going to last the whole race. And you know, we'll see how this thing plays out. Practice for a little while. We'll race the second half and try and put this trim spot Dodge in victory lane.
Well, in Ryan's last 3 super speedway starts, he's been to victory lane 3 times. To Lindsay Zarniak.
John, we have 2 Nextel Cup regulars racing here today. The first one is Scott Riggs. He has never raced Pocono. He's never even raced ARCA, but today he starts 30th. Starting behind him at 32nd, Mr. Ken Schrader, the Cup veteran. Ken, your car is so fast, but because the field was set on owner's points, you start all the way back here. How are you going to get up front?
Well, we're going to try to get up front. We're going to try to do it real carefully. 80 laps at Pocono was a long day, so we got plenty of time. It's a nice wide racetrack, so see what happens.
Ken has also never raced an ARCA race here at Pocono, but guys, I got to tell you, word around the garage is he is the man to beat.
Lindsay, you are absolutely correct. Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Dillner. Alongside of me is former ARCA competitor Dan Pardis. This is going to be a goodie today, and that's because this place is absolutely strange, Dan. The Bermuda Triangle doesn't even hold a candle to this place, does it?
Bob, just a total unique racing facility. As a race car drivers, we don't just have 4 corners to contend with, but we have 6. Very, very fast racing facility. As you drive, it's so fast that as we drive down the front straightaway, we actually have to shift into overdrive as we go down the front straightaway to keep the engine from running out of RPMs and exploding. Then we drive down into turn 1. Some drivers elect to downshift at that point, exceeding some 190 miles an hour. Some drivers wait till they get in the center of turn 1 and 2, then drop her down back into 3rd gear, then the throttle off the back straightaway down into the tunnel turn. So just a great place, total unique racing facility. Drivers love coming here.
Tricky for the veterans, tricky for the rookies too.
This place is a really fun place to drive, but at the same time, it is one tough racetrack. I mean, you got 3 different, it's the closest thing to a road course without turning right. So if you don't hit your marks every single lap, then you get into trouble.
I mean, you're dealt a different corner every time you go in at the end of a straightaway, and you have to think about it as 3 totally different corners. There's shifting, and it gets me back to my road racing stuff, and I like it a lot.
We're looking for a good run today out of TJ Bell because he likes those road courses, as he said. Let's take a look at the ARCA Remax Series point standings. Of course, Frank Kimmel on top, Billy Venturini, Jason Jarrett, Brent Sherman slowly creeping up. Ryan Hemphill, he's missed an event, still 6th in points. TJ Bell is 9th, and Mike Buckley rounds out the top 10.
Start your engines.
Folks, that's what we've been waiting to hear. Series here at Pocono. Folks, do not go away. This is going to be good when we come back here on Speed. Speed Channel's coverage of the ARCA Remax Series is brought to you by Remax. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. And by Gladiator Garage Works by Whirlpool Corporation. Gladiator Garage Works, it's time to rethink the garage. Folks, let's cut right to the chase and get right to the ARCA Remax Series starting grid here at Pocono. On the pole, because of points, Mother Nature rained out qualifying here at Pocono. Frank Kimmel, Ryan Hemphill on the outside pole. Welcome back, Bobby Gerhardt. His first start since Daytona. Billy Venturini alongside. And then there's Jason Jarrett and Dan. Jason has had a roller coaster year.
He has. A lot of ups and downs this year, but he had a good day here in happy hour yesterday, Bob. He was 6th in happy hour. A third-place finish out of Kentucky. Possibly they turn that program around. He's 3rd in points. If he has a good here today as a driver and a team, that really gets that momentum rolling and gets that ball going.
You see row number 7, Jeff Caudell. He could be a threat today for a top 5 finish. Keep an eye on him. And then Christy Passmore way back there in the 15th slot. We didn't think she would be that far back in the standings at this point in the season.
No, she didn't. Another black cloud over her. A lot of bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. She was 8th in happy hour yesterday. Had a good run. Talked to Bob Shack. He said she's doing much better. Last year was the first year here for Christy. She's some 2 seconds faster than she was last year, so she's feeling a lot more comfortable. She could have a great day here today at Pocono.
And let me tell you something. She ran in the top 10 here during that doubleheader last July at Pocono. Mike Hagenbottom and Tim Mitchell, the independent runner, in row number 13. Anthony Hill and Andy Belmont. He switched engines. Once he did that, 3 seconds faster. There's Cup guy Scott Riggs in row number 15, along with Mike Cook. Row number 16, Ken Schrader, and then a kid we're going to have to keep an eye on, A.J. Hendrickson. Dan, he's been awful fast here this weekend.
He has another one, Bob. I talked to A.J. this morning. He said he's feeling real good. He was 5th in happy hour yesterday. He says the car's really feeling good. If I can just stay out of trouble and be there at the end, it'll be a great day at Pocono for me.
Rounding out the field, Drew White in that Jeff Gordon-looking car, and Kevin Ray, Dale Schweikert, and Eric Smith. He is a 2-time winner in ARCA Remax Series competition. Folks, we got a couple of onboard views for you today. The first one from Frank Kimmel. And you know what? Frank's had a little bit of a problem here this weekend. Yesterday, he stayed 30 minutes late in the garage because of an engine problem. And today, he came in 30 minutes early. We're going to try to speak to him on the radio. Frank Kimmel, Bob Dillner in the TV booth. Do you copy?
Bob.
Frank, talk to you about that engine difficulty you had yesterday. Do you have the problem fixed, and are you worried about it at all?
Anytime you come to Pocono, you worry about your engines, because we as drivers do everything we can to try to tear them up with the shifting and the downshifting, Bob. But Joe and Matt Ryan, all the guys up at Ryan's Engine Shop have done such a tremendous job for us for the last few years that we definitely can't complain about any problems. That's actually just a little bit of preventive maintenance just to try to make sure we keep these valve springs in this thing all day.
10-4. Good luck, Frank. Our second onboard view today, the Gladiator Garage Works number 67 for Jason Jarrett. He will start 5th, and he's had an up and down couple of races here at Pocono Speedway. Don?
In fact, perhaps no other driver is more eager to find victory lane than Jason Jarrett. It's been since June 2001, 3 years ago, since Jarrett's won a race. And it's not like he hasn't been close a time or two. In fact, he finished 2nd no less than a dozen times, including back here in 2002, where Jarrett finished 2nd twice, as a matter of fact. Spotting for Jason today, Red Farmer in turn run, and Bob Jeffrey up top. Bob Jeffrey is his father Dale's crew spotter on Cup Day. Lindsay?
Like Bob said earlier, Bobby Gerhardt is back in the number 5 car. He has not raced since Daytona. He's been nursing a severed hamstring, and during that time, he's been acting as crew chief for the young Blake Feast. Just 2 weeks ago, Bobby's father passed away. Billy Gerhardt is his brother and his crew chief. I want to know what the past couple of weeks have been like for you guys.
Well, they've been tough, no doubt. Coming back here is big for us. We needed to come back. Bobby feels great. The team's really excited about this. Lucas Oil's back with us. We thank them for their support. Came here in 1969 with my dad. Brought us here when he ran a modified.
Thank you.
Big day. Thanks.
Guys, back to you.
Very emotional, as you can see. You know, Bobby and Billy, of course, their dad's been here a long time competitors in the series.
Very important family in the ARCA Remax Series community. And of course, right here, they are from nearby town in Pennsylvania, and they are hoping for a good run here today. Take a look at the race analysis. You saw that pit window. That's going to be very crucial. We'll talk about that in a little bit. A beautiful day, though, at Pocono. 64 degrees is the air temperature. Track temperature 82. But Dan, this is just gorgeous. Blue skies overhead.
It is. Beautiful racing facility. And Bob, this racing facility, ladies and gentlemen, is just not your normal cookie-cutter type of racetrack. It is way different. Drivers love coming here.
All right, here we go. You see the longest straightaway in racing. Almost 4,000 feet long. Dan, you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's tighten them up, Bob.
Folks, hold on to your lug nuts. It's time to go racing. See, Ryan Hemphill's got the lead over Frank Kimmel. Ryan Hemphill in that trim spa Dodge, and man, he bolted right by Frank Kimmel.
He did. It's that Ganassi horsepower in that engine. I tell you, a strong engine there. Again, I talked to Ryan earlier. He said, Dan, we just want to be patient. I want to get out there and fall in line. And I said, well, are you going to fall behind Frank or in front of him? He says, no, I'm probably just going to follow Frank because he's been around this place a long time, got a lot of experience, but looks like his car felt way better than that.
You know, Ryan's a rookie here, never having run this racetrack before. Got limited practice. Going down in that first turn when you got 39 other competitors bearing down on you, how nerve-wracking can that be?
It's a lot of pressure, Bob, but once that green flag drops as a race car driver, I tell you, all that goes away and we go to work. You get to do your job. All the anticipation and getting through practice, changing gears, changing setup is all gone. Now it's just you and that race car and your spotter out there, so you're ready to rock and roll, and you just hope that your race car feels comfortable like his obviously does right now, and you can go to work.
We talked about TJ Bell in the first segment of this show. Right now, he is running 8th in that 08 car, the black one you see on your screen. The Serta 44 just in front of him is Brent Sherman with a top 5 run here last year, and there goes TJ Bell. He's a road course ace from the open wheel ranks, and looks like he's got a handle on this racetrack.
He does. I talked to Jeff McClure earlier today. They've had such a hard time through the years, not through this year in this series, just haven't been able to put it all together. Had a great happy hour yesterday. Looks like they might have it together today.
You know, I talked to TJ Bell's guys yesterday, and I said, how does TJ like the racetrack? He says, the first lap he turned on the racetrack, he came on the radio and said, woo, boys, I'm back to my roots now. I'm going to have a good run here.
Bob, guys like him love shifting. He's a road racer. He loves downshifting, loves upshifting. Again, that's second nature for him. But guess what? We're turning 190 mile an hour plus as you enter turn 1 here. So it's a lot of guts to be able to go down there and upshift and downshift.
Ken Schrader all the way up to 13th already in that 4 wins number 69. So Schrader, no surprise there. Lindsay said he's one of the favorites in the garage area. We know that. He's coming through the field already.
Good race team. I talked to Kenny a little while ago. I said, Kenny, why are you here? Why are you here today? Is it sponsor? What drove you to come here? He said, Dan, what we learned on this side translates to the Winston Cup side. He said, I had a great qualifying run yesterday. I qualified 18th. He said, I was able to take the information that I learned here at Pocono on the ARCA Remax side and take it over to that side. He said, I'm driving the car that I raced in Dover just a week ago. I've got a great team behind me, so it's really going to work to his positive here this weekend.
On board with Frank Kimmel in that fork, the other white beat number 46. He's trying to track down Hemphill. Can he do it? We'll find out when we come back. The Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans, next on Speed Channel. You don't want to go away after this one because that is going to be an exciting race. Today, though, we are in Pocono, Pennsylvania. The battle for 7th, Billy Venturini in the 25 blue car, and AJ Fike, the rookie competitor, in Andy Hillenberg's car.
Great run for AJ. Andy Hillenberg keeps his car in his stable. They wrench it. They keep it. 23-year-old kid. Great run for him today. Hope to have a good finish for him today here at Pocono.
You know, Dan, right now we're seeing some things spread out a little bit, but that's just the nature of the beast here at Pocono, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Bob. Such a big racing facility, 2.5 miles. You can usually put groups of cars and they spread out, so you'll see that out, and hopefully we can have some good green flag racing.
You see Mark Gibson in that Williams Brothers Lumber number 59, the green car at the head of that particular pack. He is in 5th. Just in front of them is the 67 of Jason Garrett and Bobby Gerhardt ahead of him. But right now, like we said, things getting strung out just a little bit. But these guys have to have patience going around this racetrack because their equipment takes a big beating.
Yes, they do. And after practice, you can, as even a rookie race car driver, you come here and you realize how you have to take care of your equipment so much. Upshifting and downshifting. You know, if you miss a gear, you can take the transmission out of that car. If you brake too hard, you lose the brakes in the race car, and it could be devastating, and you get out early. Veterans like Mark Gibson, as you see there, been around this track a long time. They know how to get around here. They know how to take care of their equipment. Frank Kimmel, them type of drivers. So it's the veterans versus the rookies, but these rookies are awful tough to beat these days.
And here comes the rookie TJ Bell on the inside. Can't pull off the pass there. I want to talk a little bit about Mark Gibson as well, because he's got 4 wins in the ARCA Re series, but today could be a big day. He's trying to become only the 3rd guy in ARCA Re series history to become a $1 million man.
Yes, he is. Mark's been around a long time. Oh. He's finished 2nd here in 1998, so it's been a long time for Mark. Looks like the 56 cars in the wall there.
Oh man, trouble for Brian Kaltrider. That is the team car to Mark Gibson, and he took a pretty good lick on the right front of that car.
Yes, it is. Mark brought 2 cars here. Lost one of his crew guys here on Thursday, had a tooth problem, had to go to the infield care, and they took him to the hospital, so he's short on crew. Then he brings another car just to start, to make a little bit of start money and kind of get a driver a little seat time. Looks like he got a little altercation with the wall. Don't look like it's hurt too bad, though.
That'll happen in racing. Lap 7 already completed here of 80 at Pocono. Kaltrider hits the wall. Don't know if he'll be able to get restarted and rejoin the field, but right now Ryan Hemphill is out front in that trim spa Dodge, and he is looking strong right now. Replay on what happened, Dan. Take me through
it. Looks like there we got a car possibly losing a motor at corner entry. It's kind of hard to tell, and as you see, they come off the corner there. He just loses it. Possibly picked up some fluid from that car in front earlier, losing a little bit of fluid, and just got sideways. The race car's not hurt bad at all. Looks like the worst impact is right there, Bob, as you can see. So he can come in down pit row and get back underway.
You know, a few laps ago, we saw Joe Cooksey, the number 23 1-800 Serve Pro car on the inside of the track. Looked like he was leaking oil here in Pocono. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. We are at Pocono Raceway today for the ARCA Re Series. Ryan Hemphill, your leader. Frank Kimmel is in 2nd. That's the onboard camera you see right there. But, folks, we got a lot of good racing to go here in the ARCA Re Series. Next week, we go to Michigan International Speedway. We will have that show on speed. And for everybody that buys a ticket there, get this. You will be able to go into the ARCA garage after the race and check out all the teams, the cars, the drivers, the crews, and all that good stuff. A lot of good competition left, though, on the schedule. A lot of the events will be on TV. Nashville Super Speedway. We will return to Tennessee once again. Toledo Speedway, back to the short tracks. And, of course, the dirt track on Labor Day. DeKalb Speedway. Ken Schrader will be there. Don Rademont?
Well, I'm with Doug Randolph, the crew chief for Scott Riggs. You guys came down pit road, all part of the strategy. What's going on?
Well, we're just being real cautious right now. That getting that fuel there guarantees that we can make it in one more stop if we had to. We're just trying to play it safe, not doing anything that'll take us out of the race earlier.
That's Doug Randolph. He's also the crew chief for Scott Riggs in the Cup Series. Lindsay, what do you have?
Cal Beaupre is AJ Fikes' crew chief. They just brought the car in twice, as you saw. Cal, I know yesterday you guys busted a gear. Tell me what just happened and what you changed.
AJ had a vibration right from the start of the race, and is running fine. We're actually about a second quicker than we were yesterday, but it's broke the mirror from vibrating. We came in and found the linkage on the transmission is broken. It's stuck in 3rd gear. So I don't know if he broke it by trying or what, but.
Guys, back to you.
All right, folks, you see AJ Fike right there. And look who I found. Casey Mears, who dominated both ARCA races last year at this very racetrack. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
TV booth.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Casey will start 21st in tomorrow's race for the Nextel Cup Series. Last year, you see a lot of guys like Scott Riggs, Ken Schrader even coming out and competing in the ARCA Re Series here. But as a rookie like Scott Riggs, how much did you learn last year that you were able to apply to that Cup car?
It helped me a lot, because we pretty much took one of our Cup cars, and the only difference was the Hoosier tire and the bigger spoiler. So, it helped me a lot get the rhythm of this place. The setup was a little bit different. The Hoosier tires seem to have a little bit more grip, and obviously having more spoiler is going to change the setup a little bit. But the big thing around here is rhythm, and if you can get that down, it really helps you out a lot.
Is it a confidence thing, too? You have to have a lot of confidence at this racetrack.
Sure. For us to come out and be successful right off the bat and win a couple ARCA races here, it definitely gave me more confidence going into the Cup side. Kind of struggled here when we first came here in testing and ran the couple races. And then when we came back for the first practice in the Cup practice, right away we were like top 10 on the board, and it helped out quite a bit.
You ready to help us call this action here?
Absolutely.
All right, folks. A Dodge up front. That is Ryan Hempel's. There is the Advanced Auto Parts number 46 for Frank Kimmel. Let's just listen to these guys as they get kick-started once again with a handful of laps already in the books here at Pocono. Out there in the Cup side, man, you go 2, 3, 4 wide sometimes. How nerve-wracking is that going down to the first corner like that?
It's definitely nerve-wracking. It's probably one of the most exciting moments, on the restarts and starts, just because you are running 2 and 3 wide. This track is really unique. In turn 1, it has a couple of grooves where you can run 2 wide, but 3 wide's a little bit tight, and it seems to happen almost every time we get in the Cup race. But as you can see here, Ryan Hempel's doing just such a great job. He's using, equipment that we had there at Ganassi's. Last year I had, the fortunate side of things where I actually used the same guys at Ganassi's. Ryan's getting some cars and getting some motors, and they're doing a great job with it.
You see Ryan Hempel coming down the long pond straightaway here at Pocono. And Danny, he just looks unstoppable so far.
He does. He said the car felt so good yesterday. They got a strong engine under that thing, a lot of great aerodynamics, got a great team behind him. He's settling right in the seat. Again, he just felt a driver, when you come to a new track, either you really, really like it or it just takes a while to get the rhythm. As Casey can tell you, Ryan has got the rhythm here today.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job all year. Obviously winning some races and coming here and running good again. And he's just proven, how good he really is. He's new, and it's taken a while to get that confidence built up. But I think it's up now, and he's doing a good job.
And talking about good, Ken Schrader's looking pretty good. He just moved up into the 6th spot. And folks, remember, he started all the way back in the 32nd spot. Man, Schrader is cranking. He's looking good too, guys. Don?
Well, Schrader may be looking good, but there may be trouble for one Frank Kimmel. You mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Bob, that they had engine trouble and were working late on it last night. I'm hearing from the crew chief, Bill Kimmel, that the motor is starting to miss on the 46 car. I don't know what that will mean down the line, but trouble early on for Frank Kimmel possibly.
Dan, I could see it on Frank's face yesterday as he and his crew were trying to work on that engine and get things fixed. He just didn't look like the same confident Frank Kimmel. And for that matter, Bill Kimmel, his crew chief, didn't look too happy this morning. They were very worried coming into this race because this track is brutal on equipment.
Yes, it is. I talked to Bill an hour or 2 before the race. What happens here at Pocono, to keep up with some of this Winston Cup horsepower, Nextel Cup horsepower, you have to turn these engines. Frank's engine program is not designed to turn that engine some 96, 9,800 RPM. So yesterday in practice, he turned the engine some 9,800, and after practice, they pulled the valve covers off. They found the lifter galleys were cracked on both sides of the engines. They had some valve spring problems, so they went in and replaced the lifter galleys, the valve springs. And again, it's all due to the high RPM that we turn these engines. So hopefully he can make it the distance here today. As Casey can tell you, you do turn some high RPM, am I right?
Yeah, you do, and it's getting more and more that way. As we go along, guys are turning. It was 92, 93, 94. Now you're hearing some guys turn 97, even 10,000 in some places, and it's really hard to get a valve train to live, and you got to have special parts and pieces to make that work. And some guys are really getting it down. Ryan's fortunate that he's able to use some of our technology that we've learned over on the Cup side and use it here. And it's just tough on some of the guys that don't have that technology.
Here's Lindsay Zarniak.
Bob, Christy Passmore was moving up earlier. It looks like she's continuing that trend. We talked to her crew chief, Bob Shack, a little earlier. He said that she She had fallen back because she missed a shift going into turn 1. But I got to tell you, I talked to him this morning. He was initially disappointed that she was starting 15th because of the points. He said his goal was for her to pass 6 drivers by the end of the first lap. And he said he was going to personally go around, ask them and say, hey, I'm coming, I'm going to pass you, get out of my way and watch out.
And you know who else is saying get out of my way? Scott Riggs in that Valvoline car right there. Man, he just blew by Billy Venturini and Christy Passmore, made that pit stop. Now that car is a rocket ship.
Talk to Scott. If he wasn't quite comfortable with the car, like Casey said, it takes a while to get used to this track, to get comfortable. He wasn't quite comfortable yet in the happy hour. Talked to Frank Kimmel. Frank said, if that kid can get comfortable here, he's going to be awesome because he's got some horsepower underneath that hood.
Here's your top 5 so far, folks. Ryan Hemphill, Frank Kimmel, Bobby Gerhardt, Jason Jarrett, and Ken Schrader. We're only a week away from the USGP, but you know what? Tomorrow, 12 p.m. live on Speed Channel, the Canadian Grand Prix for the Formula One boys. In Montreal, will Michael Schumacher win again? That's always the question, isn't it, guys?
Tough competitor, Michael Schumacher really is.
See, Frank Kimmel, he's having some problems out there, folks, getting around that corner. That engine just does not sound right, Don Radebach.
Let's find out for sure what's going on. Crew Chief Brother Bill, I understand you're having some trouble early here. What's going on?
Yeah, Don, he said he thinks he's losing a cylinder or something because it's coming and going. He said it misses for a while, then it cleans up and runs good. It misses, does it again. So initially when he comes by, so maybe it's a cracked header. His times really haven't dropped off a ton, but there's definitely some kind of a problem going on right now. We're just trying to make it to the end.
All right, we'll keep a sharp eye on the 46 car. For now, he's still in the game.
Casey, during the commercial break, we were listening to the engine on that car, and just as we came back, you were raising your eyebrows. Did you hear something?
Well, it sounded like it was just missing a little bit, you know, and it's hard to tell. We had this problem here last year, and at the end of the straightaway, if it's at the very end of the straightaway, a lot of times it's just maybe running out of fuel or maybe isn't jetted just right, and we had a big problem with that. It took us a while to get it figured out. You know, he may obviously be having a bigger problem than that, but there is a little bit of a miss.
Danny, you got to be worried if you're Frank right now.
Yes, I know I would, especially the trouble that they had here yesterday with the cracks in the upper valve train and the valve springs. Hopefully he's not having an upper valve problem, maybe a valve sticking in the head, possibly losing a valve spring this early in the day.
You know, let's talk about this, though. Frank Kimmel is still second, and you know what? Bobby Gerhardt is not catching him yet.
Yeah, no, Frank's doing a great job. I mean, obviously been around this sport for a long time and been in the ARCA Re series for a long time and is doing an excellent job. I mean, obviously having a little bit of a problem to do this well and still be running in second. I mean, he's just doing a phenomenal job.
Can a driver, though, Dan, hear some things and really start to worry about things, but they're not as bad as they seem sometimes?
Any little glitch or anything, in case he can tell you as a driver, any little miss in that car, we know what it's supposed to sound like lap after lap after lap. Well, any miscue at all happens as a driver, we get a little nervous and we let our crew chief know about it. Because, you know, it's not supposed to happen. If it's something that hasn't been happening and all of a sudden it occurs, usually a problem like that does not go away with a race car.
And, you know, I talked to Frank yesterday, and he had a big debate about how many times he was going to shift here, whether it was going to be once or twice. Is there really an advantage, Casey, to shifting twice on this racetrack?
I think so, and it depends on the power band of your motor, you know, how much you can turn it. We're shifting twice here, and it works out really good for us. You know, gets that motor in the RPM range where it comes off the corner and pulls real hard. So there was one point where we, you know, discussed shifting once or twice, or maybe even 3 times. We ended up choosing the shifting twice, and it seems like it's working out the best for us so far.
Talked to Frank this morning and asked Frank that specific question. I said, Frank, are you shifting twice or once down the front straightaway or through the tunnel? He said, Dan, I'm shifting twice right now. He said, but sometimes I get real busy going through the tunnel turn. If there's traffic around me, I'll just shift once. So what that does, though, is it turns more RPM in the motor, and it's actually harder on the motor. So he's probably trying to shift as much as he can out there to save that engine.
Ken Schrader is now up to 4th, and the guy he is trying to catch is that Lucas Oil car of Bobby Gerhardt. Lindsay?
Yeah, Bobby Gerhardt saying that he's a little bit tight out there, so the plan is to bring him in during the next caution. They're going to give him 4 new tires and a panhard adjustment, and they say he'll be good to go.
And you know what, guys? He's been tight all weekend. In fact, Bobby told me yesterday it felt like his entire car was just riding on the right side. He didn't even think the left side tires were even touching the pavement. That's got to be a tough feeling.
Yeah, that's pretty dramatic. You know, I mean, right here you're watching Ken Schrader. He's a guy you never can count out. Obviously been around a long time too, and really knows what he's doing around this place. And he's running him down pretty good. It looks like you know, 5 car needs to get her fixed up a little bit.
The 5 car is a twin car to Scott Riggs' car that he's running here today. It come from MBV Motorsports. It's his sister car to it. I talked to the crew chief over there. He said the serial number is one more than Scott Riggs' car. He said they were both built in the same shop at the same time. It's a Hendrick motor, strong horsepower underneath the hood. He's having a great run here today.
The woes continue for Jason Jarrett. He is on pit road under green flag conditions here, Don Radebach.
And probably more than likely unscheduled right side tires going on the 67 car, a big chassis adjustment, having trouble trying to get the Sunoco gas in the left rear there, as you can tell, with just right side tires. Now he stalls the car. Jason here, further troubles down and away finally, but a very costly pit stop under green here at Pocono.
And Dan, this team has been so frustrated this year. Finishes up 14th, 32nd, 2nd, 10th, 2nd, 18th, 3rd. Just not what this team was expecting, and they are battling right there actually for the 3rd spot. You saw Schrader try to duck his nose underneath the Lucas Oil car for Bobby Gerhardt.
Schrader driving the car that he drove last week at Charlotte. Casey, you know a little bit, I'm sure you drove. He knows the car was good. Dover, obviously being a different type of racetrack to this, how much does aerodynamics come into a play at a fast racetrack like this?
This place is huge, and when you start getting about that close to a guy, you really start losing your front end, and it's really hard to kind of time it out, you know. So I'm sure, you know, Kenny's trying to size him up right now and try to find the best place to pass.
And you can see they're coming up on the Bennigan's number 67 there for Jason Jarrett, who was on pit road. So as we were saying, tough breaks again for that team.
So hard. Jason Jarrett's had such a tough year. Again, I talked to him this morning. He thought things were turned around, so obviously not here today, but maybe it'll work for him.
Folks, Casey Mears just points out that, you know what, Scott Riggs is up to 5th, and he's coming on hard. Ryan Hemphill in the Trim Spa Dodge just absolutely dominating this race so far. Frank Kimmel, the 5-time ARCA Re Series champion, trying to catch him down, but having some engine problems. Folks, want to remind you, you can go to ARCARacing.com or Speed51.com and vote for your favorite driver. At the end of the year, at the banquet, we will name the most popular driver for the ARCA Re Series, brought to you by Speed51.com.
Great program Speed51.com has got going for these ARCA drivers. Again, all the fans get to vote for their favorite driver of the year. That's an awesome thing to do in the ARCA series.
Check this out, boys. Scott Riggs underneath Schrader, and in a typical Cup fashion, it looked like Schrader let him go, Casey.
Yeah, I think Scott had a really good run, and, you know, Schrader obviously wants the spot, but, you know, he knows it's going to better himself if he lets him by and just falls back in line and hopefully get by the 5 faster. Scott's an excellent driver. You know, he's had a real tough year in the Cup Series so far. Did a great job in the Busch Series. He's just got to find his niche. Last year I struggled, and, you know, this year we really found our niche and we've come on. You know, I think if somebody really gives him a shot, keeps him around next year and gives him a, you know, good boost of confidence, I think the guy's going to do a great job.
You know, after Riggs completed that move, you saw his hand come out the window as he goes underneath Bobby Gerhardt. Gerhardt, too, lets him go, but after he passed Schrader, put that hand outside the window to say, like, hey, thanks, Schrader.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if a guy cuts you a break like that, you want to let him know that you appreciate it, and, you know, the favor will be returned to you again next time you come in.
Dan Riggs is looking good.
He is. He's got a feel for that thing. Again, he wasn't quite comfortable with that car yesterday after happy hour. He said, I just need a few more laps. We've made some adjustments for the race here today, and hopefully we went the right way. Obviously did. Talk to Frank Kimmel again. He said, Dan, if he can get that car hooked up and get through the corner, he said he is going to be awesome here today, because he said I was walking all over him through the corner, but down the straightaway he would pull me some 15 car lengths by the time we got to the other end. He said when he gets through the corner, he's going to be awesome.
Let's talk about Ken Schrader a little bit. We saw him really moving through the field, and now he's sort of just stalled out.
Thing is too, is you watched Riggs come in and get some tires, you know, so I mean he's got a little better tires than those guys. He came on by, you know, he might, you know, Ken might be kind of playing it smart and just kind of hold back a little bit and wait for the right time to get by him. And, you know, right now he knows even if he gets by the 5, those, you know, first 2 or 3 cars have gotten out so far out front that you're probably not going to reel him in. He's probably going to wait till that next caution comes around and then fight him.
Let's talk about this too, Dan, because we are approaching the pit window when you have to come onto pit road to refuel your race car. 27 laps in the books right now, and folks were telling me the pit window about 33 to 37 laps, and the only guy that maybe can go more than that, they were saying, was that guy right there, Ryan Hemphill.
They figured a way to get good gas mileage on these cars. They got a great engine program. Obviously, they've got something worked out in these carburetors to get a little bit better gas mileage than the others. But I'll tell you, Bob, it's 2.5 miles around this racing facility. He may get 1, maybe 2 more laps than the rest rest of these guys, but he's still got to come in here and pit.
ARCA Don, what's up?
Well, I just wanted to report on the 67 car. They think they may have had a tire going down the car. Didn't feel right to Jason Jarrett. But in fact, they're not sure if in fact he did have a tire going down. It looks like if you can dial in here closer, you can see that the tire is actually beginning to separate where it meets the sidewall. But Jason Jarrett thinking he's having trouble out there.
Scott Riggs saying sayonara to Frank Kimmel. Riggs now up to the 2nd spot. King Kimmel back to 3rd.
Yes, he did, and Frank told me absolutely that this morning again. He said if Scott can just get hooked up here and get comfortable through these corners, he is going to be the man. And obviously he's doing that right now. Again, Frank Kimmel being very conservative, knows he's got a motor problem. Hey, Frank's here for the big picture. He's running for points here in the ARCA Series. He knows he has to finish this race today. His engine may be off a little bit. He's taking a little bit easy, as Casey can tell you. He's getting down in the corner, maybe feathering the throttle, so the engine doesn't turn some quite 92, 9300. He lets it turn 8800. His lap speed's a little bit slower, but he's smart enough to know he has to be here at the end of this race.
Scott Riggs is right now in front of Frank Kimmel. Scott, 33rd in Cup points, but he had a great run in Dover, Delaware last week, his first top 5. You score a top 5, you come here and run well. Casey, we talked about that confidence thing, but man, 2 good runs in a row, that's really got to do something for you.
Sure, no matter how it comes about, I mean, if you can get a top 5 in the Cup Series, you're doing something. And, you know, it just definitely gains a little bit of confidence and you know, gives him maybe something to work off of, you know. And I sure hope that, you know, today running this ARCA race, he can take something over to the Cup side and continue on from there. But Scott's just been doing a really good job today, and obviously reeling in the leader, and hopefully have a good race here towards the end.
Look at that. That was pretty interesting, looking at the back of Frank Kimmel's car. Getting into that corner, man, he was really able to roll it in there deep. And Bobby Gerhardt had to get on the binders a little bit sooner.
Yes, he did. And as you see down the straightaway, Frank may be having a little bit of motor trouble. As you see, Bobby Gerhardt reels him right in towards the end of these straightaways, as you see right there. But through the corner, looks like Frank can see the corner just a little bit better.
Now, with that engine problem and maybe missing from time to time, will he be able to run it through the corners just a little bit quicker than, say, a guy with a lot of power or full power?
Well, as Casey can tell you, sometimes it helps when we lose a little bit of power. We actually call it detuning the engine on some corners, especially turn 5 and 6 here that I call 5 and 6. It's so hard to get off this turn 6 straight down into the straightaway that too much power could actually make you overdrive the corner and come off the corner and actually pick up a push. So there is some benefit to that, but obviously it's not going down the straightaway.
Yeah, I get mixed up on the corners. I call it turn 3, but you know, it is a real easy corner to overdrive, and when you have a motor problem, sometimes it allows you to get off in there a little bit better and pick up the throttle a little bit sooner.
I'm glad you said that, because we've been picking on old Dan all weekend long. He says, I see 6 turns out here. I don't see 6 turns.
You talk to 10 different drivers, you get 10 different answers. What can I say? We all went to a different school.
I knew I liked Casey.
Always on your side, yeah.
Check out that, the number 17 for A.J. Hendrickson. Dan and I spoke about him at the top of the broadcast, one of the quicker cars in the 2 practice sessions here. He is now up to 6th. He is an independent runner, works on the car himself. This is their own chassis, and you know what? He's going to go cup racing with this particular team coming up here later in the year at Pocono, at Chicago, and also at Charlotte.
He did. I talked to AJ again. He said, man, we're good on the long runs. You know, a lot of drivers will tell you that, but he said, I'm good on the long runs. We got some Ernie Elliott horsepower underneath the engine. I believe the car he's in is an ex-Jack Roush car, so, you know, he's really showing good here today.
Just behind these guys just a little bit, we want to talk about A.J. Hendrickson right there. You see him, man, getting a little bit loose. But further back in the field, a guy that's having a great run is Eric Smith in the 92 car. He has moved all the way up from the 39th spot, and now he is running 13th. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that's tough.
You see the cars dance around there a little bit. As Casey can tell you, you know, you're running some 180, 190 mile an hour entering some of these corners. Air does a big play a big part in this. When you get 2 or 3 cars together, sometimes you get the buffing off the other cars around you, and it does get real exciting at times.
It definitely moves around quite a bit. You can use that air to your advantage too if you can learn where it helps you and where it hurts you. But you know,
experience plays part in that. I wish we, you know, every year we all get smarter and smarter. So it's just about having experience.
Don, you got more on Eric?
I sure do. Eric Smith is the only 100% Native American to ever compete in the ARCA Re Series. He's a member of the Seneca tribe, one of 6 nations among the Iroquois nations. He's also quick to point out that he's a very proud American. that his Seneca Nation essentially is a nation within the American nation because they were never conquered. They were actually allies of America through it all. His birth name, Hut Noe Snoway, meaning quick turtle. Eric Smith is a quick turtle at Pocono today. Upstairs to you.
I don't know how quick Don is on pit road. I like to call him a slow turtle, but you know what? Only Don Radebaugh, we like to call him ARCA Don, would know those facts about Eric Smith. We'll be back. Trouble for Frank Kimmel here at Pocono. We've documented that he has had some engine problems, and now he is on pit road 33 laps into this race before halfway. But you know what, Dan? This may be a scheduled stop for him with this fuel window. Don?
In fact, it is scheduled. He's right within his fuel window as the Advanced Auto Parts Ford crew goes to work on the right side. This is a little bit untypical of the ARCA Re Series green flag pit stops, actually. More often you see them under the yellow flag condition trying to cram some Sunoco racing gas in enough to get him to go at least for one more stop. Frank Kimmel down and away.
Now, Dan, he's going to have to stop again, isn't he?
Yes, he is. We're going to have 2 stops here at Pocono unless we have a lot of cautions. The way the race is playing out right now, it looks like we're going to have a lot of great green flag racing here today.
You can see right there when Frank left, it was really hard to get out of the pits. This is one of those tracks where, because you do shift, you run one of the tallest first gears you'll run out of anywhere. And Jason Jarrett came in, he had trouble. This is going to be one of those places where you really got to get the revs up and get out of the pits hard.
Now we see Frank Kimmel going up through the field once again. Ken Schrader, Bobby Gerhardt right there, the battle for third. Schrader is by that Lucas Oil car, but right now maybe those two guys just really pacing themselves. What do you guys think?
I think Kenny really needed by the 5. He was just a little bit faster, but he was getting held up in the dirty air, you know, and now he's by, and we'll have to see what happens.
Man, everybody is on pit road. Mark Gibson, Todd Boucher in the GFS Marketplace Ford. You can see the Serta 44 from Brent Sherman. He ran the top 5 here last year. Lindsay?
Yeah, you guys can see Sherman looks like they're having some sort of problem. They're adding some gas to the back. And I believe they changed the right side tires. I'm going to talk to the crew chief, find out, and get back to you guys.
Now he's having trouble getting that fired up, just like you mentioned, Casey.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he maybe ran out of gas, came in, and he's having a hard time getting fired up now, but it is one of the hardest places to leave the pits, that's for sure.
It looks like they've run it out of gas. They need to spray sometimes some ether into the intake system of these cars to get them back going. Again, they're pushing them. Then we'll have till the end of pit road to get it going, and then the ARCA officials will stop them and they'll have to back it up.
That was the battle for 4th. A.J. Hendrickson moves into that spot, drops Bobby Gerhardt back to 5th.
A.J. having a great run here today. Again, he said on the long run, I can't wait to get out there on the long run. My car gets better and better and better. And again, he's had such a tough year, and there we see Brent Sherman back underway.
A tough break for Brent. He ran in the top 5 last week at Kansas, his second top 5 run of the year.
What that does for a driver, it's all man. Am I right, Casey? Describe to us what you're feeling in there now.
It's just horrible. I mean, obviously, you know, having probably a decent run and you get held up in the pits like that is just probably the worst feeling in the world. You know, if you wad one up, you crash, something happened, you got to deal with it. But I mean, when little things like that happen in the pits, it's just the most irritating thing that's happening for sure.
Folks, there's no cruise control in these race cars, but if there were, man, that 64 car looks like he's using it today because he is out front, clear sailing for Ryan Hemphill. Bobby Gerhardt on pit road in that 5 Lucas Oil car as Ryan Hemphill continues to circle the track. There he is, a 2-tire stop maybe for Bobby Gerhardt. A chassis adjustment there, Dan.
Yep, they made a little adjustment. Bobby could have possibly been a little bit tight. Looked like they took a round out of the left rear, which actually would make the car a little bit tighter. Am I right, Casey? And they may have been possibly could have had a little loose condition. So yeah, he's back underway, and hopefully that car will feel a little bit better for him.
Not only a long front stretch, but a long pit road here too, no?
Oh, it is, and it takes forever, as Casey can tell you, to get down from one end. It's almost some quarter-mile long. Seems like you're on a quarter-mile drag strip. And Schrader's coming down pit road right now. I'm sure he can tell you it takes forever.
Here we go. Now, Schrader looks like he got some pretty darn good gas mileage because he's gone 38 laps on a tank of fuel, Don Radebaugh.
Indeed, he has. Waiting on Ken Schrader, the Fenton, Missouri native, for his pit stop in the BAM racing car. He's here. Right side tires going on the 69 car. Remember, this is the same car that Ken Schrader ran with in the Cup race at Dover just last week. This will be a 4-tire stop while the Sunoco Racing fuel going in. Actually, the handle is pretty good on the car. Check with his crew chief, Scott Eggleston, who's the same crew chief for Ken on Cup Day. Everything routine here. Schrader down and away.
And here comes your leader, Ryan Hemphill, in that trim spot car, also on pit road. Here he comes, Lindsay.
Yeah, Hemphill telling us earlier he was nervous because he only had 20 laps of practice, but here we go. We're told they're going to change all 4 tires. You see them adding gas there, changing the right sides right now. They're going to come around, change the other side. I talked to his crew chief, Greg Tetzer, who told us he was saying it was greasy out there. That was one problem Hemphill was having, but as you can see, they're changing the right sides right now. It looks like he's going to be off and away in a matter of seconds, and these guys are just extremely ecstatic about their position today on the racetrack, as you can imagine.
Trouble on the left rear for Ryan Hemphill, a little bit slow there. That'll cost him some precious time on the racetrack. Guys, want to talk about real quickly though, so some guys get 2 tires like Bobby Gerhart. Some guys like Ryan Hemphill get 4. Obviously 4 tires is better, but track position's crucial here too. What do you think about that?
It's just hard to say. I mean, you really got to look at where you're at on the track at the time. The 4 tires are way better. You know, this place, the tires wear out. They're not real consistent. You get slower and slower as it goes on. So I think the smart thing was to take the 4 tires and, you know, hopefully if a caution comes out and it bunches them all up at the end, they'll have a little better tire and be ready to go.
There's Bobby Gerhart, who just came off a pit road a few laps ago. He is running in the 11th spot. Jason Jarrett.
And the car's looking good, you know, Scott's just running just a little bit better, and real happy to see Scott running that well, you know. I mean, he's hopefully built some confidence and get running better over on the Cup side, but hopefully not too much better because we got a race against him.
Ken Schrader running pretty well too. You got to run against this guy as well. He's running in the 3rd spot. AJ Henriksen is actually your 4th place guy. There he is in that black and iridescent yellow number 17. AJ and another guy, they put all their effort into the shop. It is only those 2 guys working. They run a part-time schedule over here, and as we mentioned before, we're going to go cup racing a little bit later this year.
That's real impressive, you know, to see guys like that work real hard and, you know, not have all the resources and the things that some other guys do that run up front. He's, you know, sitting in 4th place, done an excellent job, and that's real neat to see. And nice to see guys like that work hard, you know, get something out of it.
Jason Jarrett in that Bennigan's number 67 runs in your 5th spot, looking for another good run. He had a great run at Kansas last week. So Jason Jarrett, man, adversity early on, looking pretty good right now.
Hopefully that'll work for his plus. I talked to Red Farmer, the legend Red Farmer. Has been with that team for some years now. Red spotting for him today. Red said, I'm spotting down on the truck, down on the infield. I said, what do you mean, Red? I said, you're not on the roof? He says, no, you can't see. It's so tough around this racetrack. It's 2.5 miles around here. Some spotters have a lot of trouble when you turn down into turn 1 here. You lose sight of them. So Red's on the hauler down on the infield, spotting for Jason, and we have another spotter up on the roof.
That's right. Red's still winning dirt late model races at the Talladega Short Track, and he's a pretty old dude. So I tell you, that's pretty impressive. You saw Billy Venturini there in that Hawksaw Blades number 25. He is running in the 6th spot. Frank Kimmel in 7th.
Frank just keeping his fingers crossed. I know Billy is too. Just, man, let's make it to the end of this race here today. We've got to make it to the end. Listen to the motor here and kind of see if we pick up anything. To prevent it from getting up in that 93, 94, 9500 RPM range. He just rolls back out of the gas pedal to conserve that engine to make it to the end.
Up front still is Scott Riggs in that Valvoline car right there. He's really blowing away the competition. 1.28 seconds ahead of Ryan Hemphill at this time. Get this, Ken Schrader is 9 seconds behind. Incredible.
This is a car that Johnny Benson raced at Homestead again last year, finishing the top 5. Hendrick motor in this car, great race car. Scott's feeling pretty comfortable out there right now.
10 laps to go, Don Radeba.
Well, he may be comfortable or he may be uncomfortable because he just came over the radio and said to his crew chief, it's getting hard to shift. Crew chief came back and said, just nice and easy, about 10 laps to go. Dan Partis, is this the part where the driver starts hearing and feeling things?
Yes, it is. I tell you, you don't want anything to go wrong. As Casey could tell you, this late in the race, man, you know you made it to the end. You're trying to do everything right. You just keep your fingers crossed and be smooth.
What what does it mean that it's hard to shift right now?
Well, I don't know. The gearbox might just be locking up a little bit. You might have to take just a little bit more time, get out of the throttle a little bit more when you go to make your shifts. Take a little bit more time on your shifts. The whole race you're shifting as fast as you can, lifting out of the throttle as least as you can. And, he's probably just lifting out of the throttle a little bit more and just taking a little bit more time on those shifts. And, it's hopefully something isn't going too bad in that car and you can get her home.
We'll see. We got 9 laps to go here in Pocono. The big 2.5-mile tri-oval can be very mysterious, as we told you earlier. We'll find out if it has an effect again today. Folks, glad to be with you in Long Pond, Pennsylvania today. Lindsey Zarniak and Don Radebaugh on pit road. Dan Pardis, Casey Mears, the Nextel Cup driver. I'm Bob Dillner. Glad to be bringing you this race today from this absolutely weird racetrack. I mean, you said it earlier. It's not a cookie cutter racetrack. Can't say that quite right. Cookie cutter, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's unlike any other racetrack in the country.
It is very, very so unique in its own way. We brake a lot here, we shift here, got a lot of RPM, carry a lot of speed. Casey, how do you like this place?
I love it. It's fun coming to places like Pocono that are just totally different. I mean, you run a lot of Atlantas and Charlottes and Chicagos and, a lot of the same style tracks. Obviously, you got your short tracks with, Martinsville and Bristol, but this is definitely unique and a lot of fun. I mean, you get a little bit of everything. You get the high speeds, which are a lot of fun, but you get the shift like you're on a road course, and yet you got a real flat corner over there in turn 3 that the car has to work real mechanically well, and it's probably one of the toughest tracks to tune to, but yet one of the most fun tracks to drive just because it is so different.
I'd like to say that Ryan Hemphill is catching Scott Riggs, but he's not. He's actually lost 1/10 of a second on about the last 10 laps or so, Lindsey.
Bob Hemphill last pitted on lap 38, and I just talked to crew chief Greg Jetzer. He says they need to pit. They're counting on a caution to be able to do that. I asked, can he make it if there's not a caution? He just started laughing. He said, I don't know. We're going to have to see how this plays out. So my question, Pardis, can he do it?
Well, I don't know. That's yet to come. I don't want to say one way or the other. It just depends on how much fuel that car will hold. Sometimes teams work hard to make these cars hold a little extra fuel. Is it legal? Is it not? It's always a big question.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought you were playing the political game there, and I was going to rail you for it. But
I wouldn't go there.
Of course, Ryan did win that race at Kentucky on fuel mileage. Went about 6, 7, 8 laps more than any other competitor. Going around Brandon Nupp, the rookie, the 18-year-old, in that number 1 car right there. But
Riggs got caught up behind those guys a little bit and allowed Ryan to catch up. If he is going to have a fuel problem, he's got to start rolling out that throttle just a little bit earlier. Maybe not shift, over there in the tunnel turn and just kind of try to save a little bit of fuel.
But he's not going to catch him if he doesn't shift.
Well, we'll find out.
Double-edged sword, I tell you. He's got to do the right thing. He's got to use his head. He's got to be there at the end. He wants to make it to lap 80. That's most important.
They just went around that yellow and red car. Mike Buckley, one of the independent runners in the ARCA Re series. Buckley running in the 25th spot here today at Pocono with 5 laps to go.
I tell you what, that's just so tough right now. I mean, if Ryan is going to have to save fuel, I mean, right now he can smell Riggs. He's right in front of him. He wants to get by him. Obviously being a young driver, being real successful so far in the first few races this year, he'd like to get another one under his belt and be the Cup driver. That'd be a big mark on his resume for sure.
Folks, do not go away. We still got the finish of this one to come. Will Ryan Hemphill run out of fuel? We hope not. We'll find out when we come back. Folks, sit down and buckle up your britches because this could get good. We documented earlier Scott Riggs had some transmission problems. Ryan Hemphill, who's running second, well, he may run out of fuel. Who knows? He's trying to conserve a little bit right now. But you know what? Hemphill has closed the distance just a tad. It's down to a second.
Yeah, he has. It makes me wonder if Scott is having a little bit of trouble with that transmission more than we even think. Ryan's closing that gap. I mean, at this point, you want to save fuel, but you want to win the race. So I mean, I'm sure he's driving as hard as he can. They're just going to hope that maybe they get a caution, or hopefully the car makes it to the end.
For those of you who are Ken Schrader fans, he has drifted way back. He is still third, but he is like 13 seconds behind this duo right here.
Ken's possibly is losing the nose of that car. The car not handling quite like he likes. He knows he really can't move forward. There's no need in overdriving these cars and sliding the front tires, or it just gets worse and worse and worse.
And Schrader is scheduled to be back up in the booth with us when we go to Michigan next week, live on Speed Channel. Ryan Hempel there in the second spot. He's got 3 super speedway wins in a row in the ARCA Re Series, going for his 4th, but really we're getting down to the nitty-gritty with 3 laps to go.
I think he's just doing an excellent job. I mean, he's racing against guys that, you know, have a ton of experience, and you know, here he is. He's got him right in the sights, and you're not really gaining, not really losing, but he's doing just an excellent job staying there. A 2nd place finish for him today would be great, but I know he wants that win.
Really does. He's just hoping that car, again, gas could be an issue here. You know, it's a double-edged sword. If you just go for it, say, all right, I need to pass this car and get around him in case that caution comes out, you run out of fuel. If you just slack way back, conserve gas, you're going to have 2nd. You're going to be the 1st place finisher. Loser here today.
And I want to thank Kim Novak for coming up in the booth with us today. And she just pointed out something pretty interesting. The top 3 guys have never run an ARCA race here at Pocono. And look at that, 46 of Frank Kimmel. Maybe out of fuel, guys?
Possibly. That looks like what's happening. I mean, hopefully it's not the engine problem, but it sounds like he's coming in for fuel.
Sound like the engine's still running on that 46 car. Frank Kimmel possibly just running maybe a little low on fuel. If it starts burping, you need to get in. You don't want to be stuck on the back straight.
He's going to lose a bunch of laps here as well. He was running 8th. Going to be dropping back, Don.
Indeed he is. I wanted to report something on the 99 car. I'm usually the one down here asking all the questions, but this time the crew came to me and asked me a question. They asked me, where is Victory Lane at Pocono Raceway? Apparently Scott Riggs has never been there.
He's never been here before either. Uh-oh, trouble. Out of fuel. You see Ryan Hempel shaking that car, Casey.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, he had such an excellent run going, and, you know, it's a long lap around here at Pocono, and, you know, hopefully he can get back in time.
Can't do it here today, as we talked earlier. Big question, was Ryan going to make it to the end? Well, obviously, there's our answer. Not enough fuel.
This is a big track to be running out of fuel. It looks like he ran out actually going into the tunnel turn, which is a long ways away. He's actually pulling in.
They've got access streets on the back of these racetracks that you just pull in back there, and a wrecker will pull you around, so his day's done.
1 lap to go. Now, you've never won here before. You've never been here before. You're leading. You got a big advantage. But how much is Scott Riggs thinking about, hey, I got to do everything right this last lap?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, the biggest thing he wants to do is bring it home. I mean, he knows Schrader's back there ways. He doesn't need to push it. Just need to take care of what he's got. You know, don't be easy on that transmission. Just make around these last couple of corners. He'll be good.
Scott's a racer. Been around a long time. Run good in some bush races. Won some bush races. He knows what it takes to win here today, but it's like Casey says, it's so important in his resume to come here and win in an ARCA Re race to help him over there on the Winston next step up.
I think at this point, you know, for him, it's just really good to have a good run, and then hopefully they learn something valuable today that'll help him Sunday.
And remember, he started 30th today, so Scott Riggs has had his hands full. But folks, Scott Riggs is batting 1,000 in ARCA Re Series competition with his first win here at Pocono in his first drive.
There we see Ken Schrader finishing 2nd here today. Possibly lost the handle of that race car, but that's better than 3rd.
Schrader running up in the bridesmaid role today. Ryan Hempel still listed as 3rd on the scoreboard right now. There's Schrader in that BAM Racing Dodge. A good run for that team, and I'm sure they learned a lot that they can apply to that Cup car tomorrow.
Yes, they did. A.J. Henderson having a good run here today in 4th place. Billy Venturini, top 5 for him.
They may not have won the race, but the gladiator of today's race is the Braun Racing team for Ryan Hempel. Man, this team has been good over the past few races. 3 super speedway wins in a row. They came here to Pocono, blew an engine on Thursday, replaced that engine, was fastest in practice, and was near a win in this race until they ran out of fuel. Gladiator Garage Works, it's time to rethink the garage. Don?
A very happy celebration in Victory Lane, as it should be, all things considered. Your first ARCA Re Series start, Scott Riggs, and first ever at the tricky Pocono Triangle. How's it feel to be an ARCA Re Series winner?
Oh, it was great. Just proud of all the guys on the Valvoline car today. This is awesome guys that usually don't get a chance to come to the race, and we got a chance to all come out today and have a good time and get a little extra practice. And just glad for all the guys that had a good time today. It's fun.
Some of the front runners pitted under green. You almost had the luxury, if I can say, of pitting under caution. That helped you get here?
Well, we knew we had to stop twice to make it all the way. So that very first caution pretty early on, we all stopped. Good job, brother. We all, Doug Brandoff, my crew chief, decided to come on in and gas up only just so we could only make it in one more stop.
When Casey Mears won here last year, his cup stats began to improve. Would the same be true for you?
Man, I sure do hope so. We've been struggling awful hard on the cup side, and you know, we want to get over here and get some more laps. I've never been here till this is the first race here. Got a chance to come here last week before Dover and get one day to practice, and learned a lot about the track. And you know, Dale learned a lot too, see how the track was going to really move around and change.
A big day for Scott Riggs. Victory lane at Pocono. Lindsay.
Second place winner now, Ken Schrader. Ken, it looked like you had it going so well during the middle there. Are you disappointed this is how it ended?
Well, we just weren't fast enough. I mean, we came here to help our Winston Cup deal, and it qualified better, and it was better this morning. So hopefully it is helping some. But we were third place car and one run out of fuel. Scott was the car.
How difficult was it for you coming up from 32nd place in the beginning?
Oh, it just took time. Just careful. I let Scott go there early because he's a little younger and more ambitious, and he was going forward at a little higher rate of speed than I wanted to worry about it just yet, because I knew we'd get there. It just would take a few more laps.
Thanks, Ken. Again, Ken's first ARCA race here at Pocono, second place finish.
Here are the results here at Pocono today. Scott Riggs, of course, your winner. A.J. Hendrickson with a great run in fourth. Jason Jarrett, the 67, in seventh. Mark Gibson with a very good run as well in eighth. Frank Kimmel winds up in ninth, and Brent Sherman, a top 10 run for him. Want to say thank you so much to Casey Mears for coming up here. He's already got the headset off. He is checking out, going to have some dinner and prepare for a big run on this track tomorrow for the Nextel Cup Series. He will start 21st in his target Dodge. TJ Bell in 11. We told you he was going to have a good run, and that was pretty good for TJ Bell. Christy Passmore mired way back in the 26th spot after trouble for her. AJ Fike had trouble as well, 28. Jason Basham right there, almost in the top 25. Tim Mitchell, Brian Kalkreiter, and a bunch of others round out the field here for the ARCA Re Series. A beautiful day, Dan. Blue skies overhead, a great race, which we just saw, but man, that pit stop was crucial early on, halfway through this race, when a lot of guys got caught a lap down when that caution came out.
It fell to Scott's favor. I mean, something like that happens during the race, and the crew chief has to make that decision. Again, that's why them crew chiefs make the big bucks. They have to make them decisions. We as drivers question them, what they do. Why are you doing this? Why are we coming in now? Nobody else is coming in. But when the checkered flag falls, all the results show them.
Then again, at the same time, would we really have seen a different result? Because those three cars that were out front near the end of this race were pretty dominant all day long.
Yes, they were. They really were dominant, but we got the whole field almost a lap down. We may not have had that, but them three cars were the cars to beat here today at Pocono.
Folks, don't go away. Speed Channel's coverage of the ARCA Re Series is brought to you by Remax. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. And by Gladiator Garage Works. Gladiator Garage Works is the official garage of ARCA. And they are proud to announce that the Gladiator pit of the race is the 99 team with Scott Riggs. Gladiator, it's time to rethink garage. Very disappointing day. Not for that guy. Scott Riggs is very happy, but Ryan Hemphill, I'm sure, isn't. Don?
Well, Ryan Hemphill, you may have run out of gas, but he did not run out of talent. However, a great day up front all day at Pocono. Tell us about it.
It was a fun race. To get the chance and opportunity to race with two great racers like Scott Riggs and Kenny Schrader, I'm very fortunate in that. Yeah, a little disappointed we ran out of fuel, but it says a lot for this Trim Spa, Braun Racing, Dodge team to come here with limited practice and run the way they did. They gave me an awesome car. I learned a lot today. Really love this track. Awesome Ernie Elliott horsepower. Can't say enough about them. Disappointed, but we'll be back, and we'll try and put this Trim Spar Dodge back in victory lane.
I know you are disappointed, but the gas situation, did you know it was going to be tight? What were they telling you on the radio?
Go. Go past them, get them, and just going for everything it was worth. Revving the RPMs up a little more to try and get that little extra, and probably used up a little too much fuel, but you know, when you're out of gas, you're out of gas. We gave it our best shot and came up a little short, but it was a fun race.
Go, 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 no problem for Ryan Hemphill. Lindsay.
Bobby Gerhart, we touched on it earlier in the show. You have had a very rough couple of weeks, couple of months. This is your first race since Daytona, top 10 finish. Are you disappointed, or how do you feel?
No, I'm actually very happy. We ran pretty good today. This morning we changed just about every nut and bolt on the car. All 4 springs, shocks, front sway bar, a little bit of balance, and we ran faster the first 20 laps of the race than we had here in a long, long time. And I complained just a little bit of being tight, and unfortunately on the pit stop, the wrong rubber got taken out of the rear, and my bad situation got worse the latter part of the race. So all in all, it was a great finish for the Lucas Pontiac. I'd like to thank Lucas Oil and AT Construction. Certainly been a long couple of weeks, and glad to be back.
Congratulations, Bobby.
Thank you.
And Lindsay, you can see just behind Bobby there was Jason Jarrett. A good run for them as well today. They finished just behind Bobby Gerhart in the 7th spot. There is Jason. Good run at Kansas last week, a good run here as well, so maybe this team's on the rebound, Dan.
It means so much for a team and a driver to get that ball rolling, to get that bad luck, per se, behind you. A couple good finishes in the top 10 gives the driver confidence, makes him believe that, hey, I didn't forget how to drive after all. We just have to get it all together.
And Lindsay, tonight, they going to Bennigan's?
Are you going to Bennigan's? Tell me, Jason, 7th finish, how you feeling?
I feel good. I kind of messed this up there at the first. I had a real bad vibration, and the car just it was pushing to begin with, and it just kept going up the racetrack, and then I had a vibration, and I had to pit early and just make sure I didn't have a right front going down. But we had a good car, and it's kind of disappointing because we could have had a top 5, top 4 finish, but I got us behind there at the first. But we'll go to Bennigan's tonight and have fun, and next week in Michigan we'll see the people from Gladiator Garage Works.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice to see Jason Jarrett get that good run here today. Man, the infield is always very interesting here at Pocono, and you know it's interesting at Michigan as well. ARCA All Access at MIS. Buy a ticket to next week's race at the Michigan International Speedway, and you can go in the garage after the race.
Saturday Night Fever brings back the memories.
That's right, exactly, folks. We had a great time here today. Want to say congratulations to that dude you just saw, Scott Riggs, and that entire team. Their first win on the big track in that type of car.
Great run for that whole team. First time here. He came here and tested a week ago in the Nextel Cop car. It worked out.
Folks, see you next week at Michigan.